What's going on? My one viewer, welcome. Okay. What's up, IBYZ? I'm analyzing games. So, if you have a game and you are under 1400, let me know. You can message me on chess.com and I will look at your game. Or you can email me too. Uh 14, whatever you want. 1400, whatever the time control of the game is that we're going to be analyzing. So, while I wait for somebody to submit a game, I'll just play a game. And if you want a game analyzed, just send it my way. Let's play the Latvian. Okay, he's going to take it. Let's do this. D4. What am I supposed to do against D4? I think... Is it just knight F6? This isn't played too much. It's usually queen H5 or knight takes C6. Knight C3. Yeah, these moves are a little weird. I guess we can just take this. What's up, Sammy? Alexander, hey. You can send it to me on chess.com. Or you can email it to me if you have my email. Let's take this way so we can play D5, I guess. Probably bishop D6, castles. Okay. Where do we want to develop this guy is the question. Let's see. I guess we can play bishop here. I want to try to attack on the king side. Okay. Let's go queen D7. I want this to be defended, so if he takes my knight, I can just take with the rook. I have this defended. We're going to try to slowly migrate over to the king side here. SPD. No, you can still send me a game. I'm not just doing patrons. You can send it to me. I mean, if there are any patrons, I'll do yours first, but if not, that's okay. Okay. Defending the pawn, attacking the bishop. Okay, so What happens if we trade? Our pawn structure is pretty bad. Don't really want to trade. I have 28 seconds. Just trying to make some space for the queen. Mostly. Let's defend that. I think I have this tactic. If he takes it, if he doesn't take it, I'm going to go there. That's just mate in two. All right. Let's see if we have any games. And if you can just send me a link to it, that's the best way. Let's see. Okay. Rishi, here we go. Let's check Rishi's game. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. He's playing as black. All right, let's see what happened here. Okay. So, yeah, I don't really know the theory on the Petrovs, but this is a fine opening if you know this. I don't know what happens if they take this pawn. Is this like a known gambit? If you know that and you're playing something that you've studied, that's great. If not, I would say, you know, defend your pawn. Maybe you bring the knight out. But if this is an opening, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that this pawn is just sitting here because I feel like white can just take it unless it's a gambit, right? But okay. Okay, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. You got a nice target. That's a good long-term. Both of those are good long-term weaknesses, some isolated pawns, so that's a good trade. This is okay. I like to, if I can, I like to let my opponent trade into me because then I'm going to get my rook onto the file for free, basically. Whereas in this case, white ended up getting the rook onto the open file for free. Now, you can still fight back later, but it just kind of takes you a little bit more time. So as a general rule, I try not to trade like that and allow my opponent to trade into me unless there's a very specific reason, you know, why you need to trade for some tactic or something. Otherwise, I think I would probably just develop right away here. Move your bishop somewhere and just leave that because, you know, if white takes you, you're happy to take back with your rook. Is that the Stafford Gambit? Okay, we'll go back and look at that because I'm actually curious. I thought the Stafford Gambit was different where you didn't play bishop c5, but maybe I'm just confused. All right, so bishop g4 is fine. Okay, I don't really like. Oh, you're getting a pawn, so yeah, it's you're losing this though. Yeah, I don't really like giving up your bishop because even though you get this, white's gonna get this, and then they have the bishop pair. I think you can just go back, and if white chases you, just go back and just keep the bishop. Usually the bishop pair against like a knight and a bishop, the bishops have a small advantage, and so that was just something that you kind of gave your opponent. So just keep that in mind going forward. And it messes up your pawn structure. You had some really nice pawns here that were all connected, and now you've got to deal with the isolated pawns. Yeah, this is pretty good. I think so. Doubled rooks are like very strong if you can get them. So I would be, if I'm playing this, I'm going to like try to do that. Now I can't because the bishop is here. So I'm going to think of ways to get rid of that bishop. F6 comes to mind immediately, but of course it's pinned, so we can't do that. So I think what I would probably play is something like H6, because that's going to force the bishop away and then allow me to double up. And now I have some threats on this bishop and rook, right? Because I'm threatening to play C6 now with my double rooks, creating an attack on the rook here. So that's what I would be thinking through, I think. That being said, rook e8 is not a bad move because it's also an open file, but there's just something really good about the doubled rooks on the same file. You get a lot of tactical threats a lot of times when you do that. So just keep that in mind. But okay, rook e8 is not bad at all. Oh, big blunder. Wow. Okay, so you just took that and now, yeah, game over. Okay, cool. So you got the win. Yeah, I think overall you played pretty well. So is this the Stafford Gambit? Is this how the Stafford Gambit goes? Bishop c5? I thought, for some reason, I thought it was like after they take this. That's what I thought. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's similar to the Stafford Gambit and maybe it transposes. So if that was your idea, I guess it's fine. I think it's probably fine. I'm not familiar with it, so. All right, cool. Good game. And you can send me on chess.com. You can send me a message. And if you're a patron or a member, let me know and I'll do yours first. Okay. And I'm doing under 1,400 games right now. Maybe next time we'll do 14 to 1,600 or something like that. But right now, under 1,400. Okay, who's next? Who is next? And guys, just send me a link directly to your game so I can just click on it. A lot of people are sending me like text of the moves, which is fine, but it's just then I have to like copy and paste it as opposed to just directly opening it up. So if you don't mind, just send me a link. It makes my life easier. Okay. Suleiman 5. Let's do this one next. And you were white. Okay, cool. Here we go. Okay. I don't know this theory at all, so I don't know. I guess this looks okay. I have no experience with this line though, so I'm just kind of going with what I can tell from general chess stuff. Yeah, I think your opening was fine. I mean, I think you got into a fine position, so can't really complain about that. Rook b1. Yeah, rook b1's okay. I will just tell you, usually I pause when I'm going to be moving a rook to defend a pawn like that, only because usually there are better uses for your rooks, like, than sitting behind a pawn. So, like, in this position, I'm going to probably play knight a4 and try to go knight b6. Because this is a nice hole. There's no pawns, right, that can attack my knight. And once I get my knight on b6, I'm shutting down the queen. I'm shutting down the rook. And my knight's like a monster. It's like attacking all these squares. It's like attacking things. And the only way black can really deal with that is if they want to give up their rook or maybe go here and trade for it, but then I'm going to get this passed pawn protected by my bishop, and that's going to be awesome, right? So thank you, Puzzle Lego. Caught a live stream. You went from 1,000 to 1,500. Nice. Awesome, man. Appreciate that. And I'm glad you made it to 1,500. That's quite the improvement. So yeah, I mean, this is a really great idea for white. Like, this is a fantastic idea. Whenever you see a hole like this, you want to be thinking, can I get my knight there, right? So like, I'm also thinking about this and this. The problem is those holes are a little bit more difficult to get a knight to because the way the pawns are controlling the squares, right? If you could get a knight here, maybe h3, knight h2, but that's, you know, going to take a lot of time. This one's very simple. 2 moves and you're done. Completely shuts down this file. So that's what I'm looking at. Not that rook b1 is bad, but, you know, just keep those things in mind. So yeah, see, this is a pretty good square for your opponent's knight, because if you're going to chase that away, you're going to have to commit and expose your king quite a bit. So queen e2 I think is fine. Maybe bishop f2 is what I would play here, just because I don't want to give up my bishop for the knight. But queen e2, okay, trade this. Yeah, see, if you could have gotten your knight in there, this wouldn't have even been an option for black, right? Like, completely shuts down everything. Now you got a lot of threats that black has, and your pieces are just kind of defending stuff as opposed to being on the offensive, right? So you can kind of see now how important that maneuver was if you could have gotten your knight to b6 right away. a3, ooh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, whenever you have your king and queen on the same diagonal, or the same file for that matter, you gotta be considering this kind of stuff, right? And it just gotta be part of your blunder check process, right? Like, before you make a move, let's see, how long did you spend on this move? Let's see. A few seconds. So, you know, spend a little bit longer and you probably would have saw this. It's just, that's the kind of stuff that, you know, can cost you. Yeah, you do have 94, but I think it still looks pretty bad for you after maybe queen b6, maybe knight a4, maybe there's some tricks, but it's still, I mean, putting yourself into like a double pin like that, it's not really good. So anyway, he traded it, which is actually good for you because that relieves some pressure. Okay. Awesome. So this is great. Now you finally get your knight into a nice outpost, and you can play b4, you can defend it, and this knight is so much better than this bishop. So this is great. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, bringing the rook over. I like it. Right, that's fine. b4. So here's what I'm thinking. By doing this trade right here, you kind of help out black's bishop, right? Like, now black's bishop has some life, some things to do, some places to go. It has some hopes and dreams that weren't there before. So I think if I'm playing this game, I'm going to just leave that. And I'm going to make sure that black can't play this unless I'm getting a free pawn out of the deal. So I'm going to play like rook e1. And actually, let's see, when did you play rook? Yeah, it's hard to know that this is going to happen at this moment in the game. That would be sort of like proactive kind of planning ahead if black tries to break out rook e1. But even here, a move later, I think it would be fine. Just go back. Something has changed, and now this is where you want your rook because it stops e5, right? What's black going to do? Give you a free pawn? Probably not. And if they don't, what's this bishop going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you've got pressure on this pawn. So next move, I'm going to bring this rook up. I don't know what black's going to do. I'm going to bring this rook up. I'm going to bring this rook over here, right? And look at this. Black's all tied up in knots. Everybody is just defending. This is the kind of position that you want. And then you can just slowly improve your position. And you can take your time, because what's black going to do? Like, black has like no moves. So all you have to do is like bring your king up. Now you can start pushing these pawns. Maybe you can reposition your king over here if you want. You can even like run on this side of the board. You can do whatever you want because black's just totally jammed up, right? So that's what I recommend. This way that bishop, okay, either the bishop was going to move somewhere or now you traded it, which this knight is still really strong. I don't know that I would have traded it for that bishop, although the bishop, like I said, is going to come out here. So best thing to do would have not been to let it out. All right, but let's see. Okay, nice finish. Nice finish. Black got a little ambitious. All right, cool, good game. Big takeaway from this one is look out for those outposts and get your knights there. And it's like that kind of stuff can win you the game. So, okay, cool game. All right, what do we got? Let's see. All right, cool. So let's see what's next. All right, CFT. CFT, you're up next. And you were white. All right, here we go. Oh, let me go to analysis, actually. All right. Okay, so a London player. All right. All right, so let's talk about this because this is something that a lot of people like to do, and you have to understand the risks associated with this. So a lot of the time, you're going to castle kingside, right? And that's kind of where your king's going to be safe. You develop the rest of your pieces, you castle kingside, the game goes on. When you play g4, you have to realize that, okay, if I'm going to castle kingside now, what does that mean? Well, it means my king is going to be more exposed. So you either have to be okay with that, or you have to plan on castling the other way, or maybe not castling at all. So I'm not saying this is bad, you should never do it. I'm just saying make sure you understand when you play a move like g4, it's a very committal move because pawns never go backwards. You can never be like, you know what, I'm just going to move it back and you know, castle over here later. No. That's it, right? There's some weaknesses here, particularly on these squares, right, that are going to be there the rest of the game. Now, it's not all bad news. Like I said, you gain some space. You push black away. You get rid of the pin that was here, right? So you can move your knight. So it's totally fine. I do that sometimes too. Just keep in mind, like, that's a risk, you know, and you have to basically plan for that. Also, I really like to do it if I know that my opponent's king is already there, because then you can like get some pawns going and attack the king. Right now, you don't really know what black's gonna. They might castle this way. They might not castle. All right, but anyway, it's not bad. I just wanted to mention that. All right, I don't like this move. I don't know what you were thinking. But here's the thing. Notice this e4 square, right? It's one of the central squares, and black's eyeing it, right? And so when you go here, you completely give up control of that square. So black has all sorts of options now, and I don't really like that idea. I think you need to finish developing. So this bishop's got to come out, whether you're going to go to d3 or g2 or b5. You got to develop that bishop, and then you got to move your queen probably up so that you can have options to castle, right? And a lot of times in the London, you temporarily give up control of e4, but at some point you do want to try to play e4 and break in the center. And so bishop d3, queen e2, maybe getting ready to do that at some point makes a lot of sense. But yeah, not a big fan of that move. All right, so bishop here, you trade. Yeah, and see, notice like what happened here. Black has all their pieces developed, and they have an option to castle either way, and you are not developed, and you don't have an option to castle either way yet, right? And you're white. You had the first move. You should be having these things done before black, but because you kind of wasted a little bit of time moving this knight, now black's going to get it first. And I know, like, especially when you're 700-800, you feel like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make that much of a difference. I'll get this out later, right? I'll castle later. But what you'll find as you get higher and higher rated is that if you're playing against a really strong player and you waste even 1 or 2 moves, like that's enough for them to just completely steamroll you, right? And so it's a small thing, but those are the kind of things that eventually down the road you're going to want to really pay attention to. Okay, so c3, and by the way, if you're comfortable with this structure, then you should play that from the very beginning. So let's go back for a second. when you play right here, knight c3, first of all, knight c3 is totally fine. I actually like this version of the London because you get some very aggressive ideas in some lines. But if you're more comfortable just having everything like really defended, then you want to play c3 right here. And you want to put your knight here and then continue the game like that. And that's totally fine if you're more comfortable with that. So I would much rather see that than the way that you did it, where you move it to c3 first, then you bring it around, then you play c3 later. It's just a lot of maneuvering, and it's kind of slow. And so I don't think that that's the best way to do that. All right. See that e4 square? Black's got total control over it now. And now you're kind of a little bit in a jam. It's not so hard to proceed. Okay, and then, ooh, neither of you guys saw that, huh? Okay, oh wow, that queen just sat there for a while. Yeah, so this is the biggest thing from this game, right? Gotta do a blunder check. Let's see, how long did you spend on this move? Yeah, 15 seconds. So do a blunder check, especially when you're going to be moving a large piece, right? Any of these pieces, if you're going to move it somewhere, you want to ask yourself, is it a safe place? Like, is it going to get captured? And, you know, probably would have hopefully saw that. But your opponent has to do the same thing. Like, can I take any of my opponent's pieces, right? And they probably would have saw that. Anyway, eventually you saw it and moved it. All right, that's good. All right, so... Yeah, see, the problem is you're trying to attack over here, which is good. That's where the king is. But your king's not really safe. And there's some undefended pieces, right? So usually when you see strong players attacking and pushing pawns, it's only after they've sort of fixed all the other problems, right? They've gotten their pieces developed. They don't really have any major weaknesses or things undefended. Once you fix that, that's when you go for the attacks, right? So you just want to get your ordering correct there. I'm just seeing if there's any comments that I need to respond to. How do you submit games? You can send them to my email or just on chess.com. Right now I'm going through chess.com, but I'll jump over to emails. If you're a patron or a channel member, or you want to super chat, then you can jump to the front of the line. But right now I'm just kind of grabbing the ones that I have. All right, so yeah, CFT, you know, just keep those things in mind. You want to finish that development and get castled. Like, Black did a good job of that. And then you want to start going with the other sort of plans, right? So, yeah, they did take that. They did take that. And at this point, there's not much that anyone can do because it's just too much, yeah. So, yeah, big thing is, like I said, develop right away. Don't waste any time, okay? Don't waste any time doing anything else until you've completed all your development, all 4 pieces, and you've castled, or at least you're ready to castle, right? So for example, in this position, I mean, let's just actually go back. Maybe instead of g4, something just like bishop e2 is a good move. You break the pin, you're ready to castle into a safe place, right? Let's just say bishop here, that's fine, you trade that. Even like queen d2 would be an okay move. You have options, you can castle either way, and now is when, let's just say Black castles. Now is when I would say, okay, maybe I'm going to attack the king now. I'm developed. I don't have any major weaknesses or pieces hanging. Now I'm going to launch, you know, my attack. Maybe I'm going to do this to chase this knight around and, you know, try to play h4, h5, something like that, right? Okay. Hope that helped. Solid 21. Solid 21. Okay, let's check this one. The solid is white, and here we go. Wow. Wow, g5. Okay. For those of you who are under 1400, what's the big drawback for Black for playing this move? What's so bad about this? Why is this a terrible move? Anyone at all? Light squares are weak. Exactly. Right here. It's this diagonal and these light squares. Exactly right. Specifically this diagonal. This is, by the way, this is the fool's mate, right? When white plays f3 and g4 and gets mated in 2 moves, it's just like this because you open up that diagonal to the queen. So you don't even have to save your bishop here. You could play a move like e4, let black take it, and you're still going to be in a winning position after queen h5. That's how good this is. You can even give up a piece, and I can tell you, here, we'll just check it. We'll turn it on Stockfish here. I guarantee you Stockfish is going to say white's better in that position. So let's just see. If I play the move e4, oh, that's the best move. That's what Stockfish's best move is. So ignore this, because once you get this, it's over for black. It's over, right? I mean, yeah, queen takes d5 check. What does it say the best move is here? Let's just see. Back to h5. So you take the pawn, probably just bringing out a piece. Yeah, just castling, and white's totally winning. Even though you lost the bishop, it doesn't even matter because black's king. So, correct. So that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, you moved your bishop, which is, I mean, you're still doing better because you still have this weakness for the rest of the game, but you didn't even have to move the bishop. Right, so, you know, next time this happens, you'll know, keep an eye out for that, and you want to be looking at moves like e3 and e4. Why? Because you want to get your queen over there. So if you can get your queen there, and by the way, if you can ever put your opponent's king in check and they can't easily block it and they have to move their king, and it's pretty early in the game, like 99 times out of 100, you should do it. Because as soon as you make them move their king like that, they lose castling rights, probably puts their king on an awkward square, and it's just going to be really good for you. Now, if this pawn was back here on g7, it's different, because then they can just block, right? And now you can go there with your queen, but they're just going to block you, and you kind of waste a move. The fact that there's no easy way to stop that check is why I want to go there, okay? So it's very different than if they have an easy way to block it. All right, so of course, developing pieces is great. You can't go wrong there. You know, I'm just letting you know that that was really the weakness in black's position. That's how you take advantage of it. Okay. All right, so you're continuing developing. That's fine. Yeah, be careful castling when there's like advanced pawns in front of your king. Just because when you get to the higher levels, if you do that, they're going to be pushing these pawns and attacking your king. And you're going to have to deal with that. Whereas maybe in this game, you play queen e2 and you castle this way, right? Because it looks much safer over here than in front of all these pawns. And a lot of times, by the way, if there's a pawn on g5 or b5, you can activate your rook by playing h4. Okay, so if I play h4 here, I can take this, opens up my rook, and that's a very quick and easy way to get this rook into the game. Now, of course, if I'm going to castle here, I don't want to do that. It doesn't make sense, so you'd have to castle the other way. But just keep that in mind. Okay, so you trade. I mean, overall, you're doing fine. You're playing really good moves. Okay, nice. You got that. Black didn't see it. That's fantastic. You got the rook. Okay. So see, here's an example where the check on the king isn't as good as the other check that we looked at earlier. So why is that? Well, because black's already lost castling rights, right? They lost castling rights right here, okay? The king is already kind of on a weird square, and by putting it in check with my bishop, it's just going to move, and then do I have a good follow-up? Not really. And so this move is like kind of like, it doesn't really do too much for you. It actually puts the bishop in a spot where now your knight has to sit there and defend it. And so, you know, that's why it's different. So in this case, I think what I'm going to do is play rook e1 and try to play e4. Get my rooks involved to attack the king like that. But, all right, it's not terrible. See what I'm talking about? You move the knight, and now the bishop is gone. And the bishop didn't ever have to even be there, right? The bishop could have stayed over here nice and safe, and that wouldn't have happened. So, but anyway. Okay, so you went here. What about this square, right? This is an amazing outpost. And remember, when your opponent moves pawns forward, they create weaknesses. And by pushing this pawn to here, this square immediately jumps out in my mind as, oh, I got to take advantage of that, right? Because why is that? Let's say black played a different move, like rook over here. Or, well, maybe that's not the best. Let's say they played rook here. If I play knight here now, black's going to play b6. And guess what? I got to move. And I just wasted a move. Can't do anything, right? Because there's a pawn that can control that square. So as soon as I see b5, I'm like, okay, there's no more pawns. And that's important, right? Because knights are 3 points. The only piece that I'm really scared of with my knight is a pawn, because that's the only piece that's lower than my knight, right? If a knight attacks my knight, it's just a trade. If a queen attacks my knight, I don't care. It's a queen, right? If a rook attacks I don't care. It's the pawns that are going to chase my knight around. So that's why c5 now becomes a really nice square for our knight, okay? So knight to c5 would have been a great move. And notice too, like, look at the effectiveness of the knight. Boom, 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 boom. You're attacking 2 weak pawns already. You're taking away some squares in black's camp. You're blocking off this file so that the queen can't come through. As opposed to back here, the only things that you're attacking are already well defended, right? And you can't really go anywhere else, and you're not blocking the queen. The queen can now infiltrate if it wants. So you just see how, like, one small move can make a huge difference. So these are kind of more advanced things, so don't feel bad. Like, you played really well so far, but I'm just, you know, as you continue to improve, this is the kind of stuff you want to think about. All right, it's fine. Okay, Ricky 1. Yeah, this is a tough position. This is a tough position because your knight is trapped. You want to defend it. I get that. The problem is this is a very, very weakening move on your king side. Very, very weakening. So the big takeaway is going back here, try not to put your knights on the edge of the board. A knight on the rim is grim or dim, depending on which version you've heard. So probably you need to move here, or you need to move back here and then maybe relocate it over here to this outpost. That's what this knight should be doing. H4, unless you have a place to go next, probably don't want to go to the side, right? And you don't have a place to go. Those are taken away by the pawns. So this is where you want to go. Okay, and then you would avoid this situation, right? Now you kind of have a problem here. I don't know what I would play here. There's almost some tactics, but it doesn't work because the black can take with the knight. I mean, I'd almost want to do that, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough position. G3 is just a move that I really would not want to play on my king side unless I absolutely had to, right? Because now you're at risk of getting checkmated or something. Okay, they gave you the pawn. Okay. Nice. Very nice fork. That's good. Perfect. Okay, this is fine because you're taking a pawn. But remember, if you are ahead a lot of material, and a rook is a lot, like anything above 5 points is a lot, you probably the easiest way to win the game is to trade. Because as you simplify this down, like let's just say you can trade off all these, let's say, this rook is going to be, just go have a party and just eat all the pawns. And black's not going to be able to really stop you. The more pieces that are on the board, the more black can try to do things. So in this case, I'm just going to trade. And yeah, the game becomes really easy if you do that. Now, of course, this is not bad either because black's king is not good, but... All right, cool. Nice game. Biggest takeaway from that one was, well, 2 things. Number 1, this diagonal is huge. So if they ever open that up, immediately you have to be thinking about how can I get my queen there as fast as possible. So even at the cost of a piece, we saw it was worth it, right? That's takeaway number 1. And then also... going back over here, when you had the opportunity to go for this outpost, be on the lookout for that. This knight will be so strong. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, cool. Let's see what's next. Danvi. Okay. Just under the 1400 mark, but we'll do it. 1376. All right. Oh, nice accuracy in this game, by the way. Very nice accuracy. I just noticed that. Turn off this. Okay, so Italian game. Okay. This is fine. Nice center. Knight c3. I like it. d5. Okay. Bishop d2. Yeah, bishop d2 is okay. I I like to play moves like queen b3 a lot of times in these positions. Queen b3 is a very tricky move. It creates a lot of threats. So you've got a threat on the b7 pawn. You've got a threat on the bishop. You've got a threat on d5. It's lined up with the king. It also just, you know, defends your knight if you need that. Gets it out of the way so that your rooks can be connected. And so I think I would probably play queen b3 here. That's just me. Bishop d2, nothing wrong with bishop d2. It's just a little bit passive, you know, kind of defensive move. And I like to be a little bit more aggressive when I can. That's more of a personal style than this is the best move in the position, right? But it does make it difficult on your opponent because now they have to be really careful that something, you know, a tactic doesn't open up at some point, right? So, but anyway, bishop d2, a3. Yeah, so nothing wrong. The only thing is, you know, you played h3 to prevent that other bishop move. You played a3 to force this trade. And now what's happening is black is going to be the one who gets the rooks kind of involved first. You're still kind of getting your rooks connected. So maybe you're a little bit behind in development. And I really don't like this bishop here. It's not doing much. And so, like, going back, I would have preferred to see this bishop maybe on g5 or... yeah, probably g5, and even if it has to get pushed back and it goes on this diagonal, I think that's going to be more effective than over here. But, you know, small thing. Okay, 95 is pretty nice. That's a nice outpost. Okay, queen f3. Okay. Yeah, I think you're doing okay. I mean, you've got this nice outpost. I think you're playing fine. Okay, yeah, this I like this trade. I like this trade because these pawns are super weak. And look at that. Right? You can just immediately go and start taking pawns. Or even here is a good move, getting your rook on the 7th. Or here. I mean, you have so many nice moves. Let's see, what did you do? Okay, yeah. Let me see, what is the... yeah, so definitely a good move. I guess in this particular position, it's probably just better to go win the pawn because you can do that right away. Black's probably going to try to like take you, but then you're going to get, you know, both of these pawns and your rook's still going to end up on the 7th. So I think that's maybe a little better, but yeah, this is still a really good move. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you can consider b4 because it just completely shuts down what black's trying to do, but this is good too because you're going to get 2 pawns as well. So, I mean, that's good. Yeah, so this is a tough position. This is a tough position because now you got to really decide, is it better to defend and then try to bring my king around somehow, or is it better to push this and allow black? Here's the thing that I would be thinking about. One lone pawn, a lot of times in a rook ending like this, it's going to be difficult to make progress because what's going to happen is at some point you're going to push it and you're going to push it. It's going to get to, like, let's say here, black's going to put the rook behind it, right? So let's actually just, for example, let's see what happened in the game for 1 second. Okay, this is what happened in the game. So perfect. Black's going to put the rook behind it. And what are you going to do now? How are you going to make progress? It's not that easy, right? Unless your king is close over here or there's more pieces on the board. But in just a rook and pawn endgame like this, it's very difficult for you to make progress, okay? Black, on the other hand, has 2 pawns that are connected. Very easy to push 2 pawns because they just help each other, right? Like you go here and this guy helps him, or the other way, he helps him, and they just keep helping each other. Much easier. And so I don't think, if it's me in this position, I don't think I'm going to let black do that. I think I'm probably going to have to play either rook a4 to defend that, or maybe rook here to at least get 1 pawn, right? Something like this, because I don't want to give my opponent 2 connected pawns. 1 pawn, I can very easily deal with it, and I'll be fine. 2 pawns, that's a different story. So I think, let's see, what did the engine say here? Yeah, engine says rook a4 is the best move, or rook a6, yes. So engine kind of agrees with me on that. allowing black these connected pawns is not going to be, it's not going to be good news. All right, so a5, rook goes behind it, a6, and now comes black pawns. I guess, yeah, I guess you do have a little tactical idea there, don't you? I was thinking black can just defend, but yeah, I guess it doesn't work because you can play a7 and then you're threatening check and the queen. So okay, that's an interesting setup. Because of the way black's king is, you do have that idea. So that's kind of nice. I guess black, yeah, I think black was too hasty. If black plays something like h6 or h5 to make some space for the king, this is going to be very difficult for white. Something like, let's say this, and now if you move this, you can't really do that because black can just take it. So I don't know what you would do here, but yeah, this is going to be harder. Black's going to go there, and then these pawns are going to be very, very difficult to stop. All right, but anyway, you did get the trade. This is probably going to be a draw, or it should be a draw, because it's just a drawn kind of rook ending. But if you don't know the technique, so you go there, yeah. See what's happening. So what you have to remember is, if in a game like this where there's multiple pawns on one side of the board, if somebody's king ends up stuck on one side and the other person's king is closer to the pawns, whoever's king is closer is going to win every time. They're just going to take all the pawns, and you're not going to be able to do anything. Kings are very good at like hunting down pawns, by the way, right? The way they move, they just control all the squares, so you can just take all the pawns that are around. So, you know, right here, actually, you need to really be thinking, okay, if I do this trade, can I come back over, right? And if not, you don't want to do that. You got to come up with something else. You got to come up with another plan. So, yeah. It's a tough way to lose because it should have been a draw, but as soon as you make this trade, everything changes, right? And now it's black. It's just gonna eat up all your pawns. Yep. And there's just nothing to do at this point. Yeah, rough game, but I mean, you played pretty well. Tough end game loss there though. All right. J-Man. J-Man is next. Tony likes the blue decoration chessboard on the wall. Thank you. That's my sound foam. Thank you. J-Man 1293. Let's check J-Man's game. Let's go analysis. Let's go flip the board. All right, J-Man. Okay, great. That seems pretty good. Developing quickly, I like it. E6, nothing wrong with E6, but if you've got the opportunity to get 2 pawns in the center, I mean, I'm probably gonna just do that. I don't. Oh, Engine says Queen A5 check. Huh, interesting. Engine doesn't like this move for some reason. Why not? Takes. Queen A6. What is this? I'm just gonna do Queen D7. Anyway, Engine doesn't like this. I guess because white now plays B4 and holds on to their pawn, and you have a hard time. But generally speaking, 2 pawns in the center with tempo on the knight to force the trade like that. This is a lot of times very good for black. This center is really strong. So that's what I would have done. Engine says you have to go take the pawn now, but yeah, okay. Yeah, A5, generally speaking, that's how you attack this, so that's fine. I wonder if you can play knight E4. Maybe it doesn't work, but I'm just thinking about like tricks along these diagonals with your queen. Like if you can take queen f6. There's a common trap in the queen's gambit like that, but it's different because the queen's on e2, so it's, I guess it doesn't work. Yeah. So this is a good kind of, I think, talking point. So like in the queen's gambit for white, or in this case for black, this is very similar to a queen's gambit, right? Because black plays c5. Usually you can get away with not taking that pawn back right away. You can do some other stuff. And if white tries to hold on to it right away, immediately they get into trouble. But what we see in this game is that black doesn't really take it back at all right away. And now enough time has passed and white is actually able to hold on to their pawn. And this can be pretty annoying because a lot of times you want to get that bishop out somewhere, right? And now you're sort of limited. You got to put it on e7, right? And so you do want to be careful if you're gambiting that pawn. Yeah, it's kind of a case by case thing. Like there's not a rule where you always need to either take it back in a move or two, or it just kind of depends on what your opponent's doing. But you do want to be thinking about that, right? And that's why Stockfish is saying here, now's the time we need to go get our pawn back, because if we don't, white's going to trade and play b4, and it's going to be really annoying. So that's kind of why Stockfish is saying, hey, go get your pawn back now, so you're not playing the game down a pawn. And once you get rid of that, you play e5 or whatever. This bishop has some nice options. Okay, so keep that in mind. I hope that made sense. But this is generally speaking the correct way to attack it. You play a5, you get your rook involved. So you're doing the right stuff. Yeah, I like this, just kind of centralizing the knight. f3, yeah, it's an annoying move, but it does create some weaknesses, and so I think that's fine that you did that. e4. So I'm just looking at, Stockfish says there's some crazy idea here. I don't know what it is, so I want to just see. What's the idea here? A takes b4, C takes b4. What is this? Oh, queen d4 check. Nice little tactic. I didn't even see that at first glance. I just noticed that Stockfish was going crazy. So that's, wow, yeah, that's a good example of like, you want to be kind of like always scanning the board, right? Like, okay, here's a king, here's an open diagonal, here's an undefended piece, right? Like if you scan the board and there's like, here's the question for you. Scan the board, what's the undefended pieces that white has? Well, that's defended, everything's defended except that rook. So now I'm like, okay, I wonder if I can attack the rook. And if, maybe you can kind of put all this together, an open diagonal on the king, an undefended rook, my queen has access to this, right? And then, oh, a couple of simple captures, and guess what? All of a sudden, you just won yourself a rook. So that's like how, stronger players find these advanced tactics. They just sort of break it down piece by piece, right? And then you say, oh, take, check, there's a rook. It's not that easy. I mean, I missed it myself, right? But I didn't like spend a lot of time analyzing, but basically, like as soon as you see this move, it's like, okay, now the diagonal's open. Can I do something about that? And maybe you find that idea, right? Takes this, queen d4. Black wins. Anyway, queen c7, not a bad move. It's probably what I would have played in a speed game anyway. Yeah, see, this is tough now, because now white's getting a lot of space, and you need to find a way really soon to strike back and try to break down, because what white's not doing is developing. And so you got to use the fact that, hey, all my pieces are out, my rooks are ready to go, I just need to open up some files for them, right? Rook b8, it's not bad. The only thing I would say is this rook's already kind of in the game, because at any moment you can take here and it's attacking something, whereas this rook's not doing anything. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's a tough position. It's not an easy position to play. I would want to play f6, but I don't know what's happening. I guess you can take with the rook. Like, this is what I would want to do, just to try to like open things up and take advantage, like I said, of the fact that white's pieces are kind of over here. What is Stockfish saying in this position? Queen b7. Stockfish is saying queen b7. Yeah, that seems like a pretty deep move. I guess just attacking this, but anyway, let's keep going. All right, so you did win the pawn. That's got to be pretty good for you. Nice. I like this move. It's good. You're putting that queen on a nice square, attacking some weak stuff. Okay. It's a risky move, but I guess it's okay. I say it's risky because you can't move your knight now. And so if white can attack it again, like queen f2, what are you going to do? I guess you can try to defend with your rook, maybe. Risky move. And also, like, let's just take this for an example. Let's say you can play here. I don't even know if this works. What I'm concerned about is that after this trade happens, you're still stuck in this pin and you still can't move. And notice how you can't move your queen either, because now you lose the piece. Well, it's white's turn, but let's just say here, you can't do this or you lose this piece. So, you know, putting yourself into a pin like that, you got to be really careful. You just got to be really careful. Generally speaking, a lot of the times, if you do that, your opponent's going to have some kind of a tactic available. So just keep that in the back of your mind. In this case, they just traded for you, which is very nice. Very nice of your opponent to do that, but okay. Good. I mean, you're using your rooks nicely. I think you're playing fine. Oh, we just hung a rook. Okay. Yeah. I guess, what can I say? Slow down a little bit. You spent 8 seconds. Yeah. That's what you'll find. Like, if you want to get to, like, really high rating, you just can't ever do that stuff. Or very, 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 very rare, right? Like, strong players just don't make mistakes like that. Because you play the whole game really well, and then it's over from one move, right? So, just slow down. Take your time. Yeah. Overall, though, I mean, at the beginning, you're playing well, I think, so. All right. What do we have next? Oh my, that's a lot of games. All right. I'm going as fast as I can, guys. I'm going as fast as I can. Let's see. Who are we going to do next? All right. How about chess at Olympics? They are black. Here we go. Okay, so we get like another sort of reverse Queen's Gambit with black kind of a deal. White messes up, so nice. You trap the bishop. That's good. Okay. Oof. Yeah. White was not playing well this game. Oh my goodness. Everything is just falling. Okay, good. Trading is good. And so you're just up a rook. Yeah, so this just trading, not blundering, should be a win. Okay. All right, good game. Yeah, you played well, but white just really messed up that opening. All right. Let's see this one. All right, Bacameno was white. Okay, so Rui Lopez. G4. It's a committal move, you know. I don't know that I would play this personally if I'm castled here. I think it's a little bit too much, especially because black hasn't castled yet. They can very easily play h5 and open up my king. Now, yes, you can force a queen trade the next move, and so maybe that's what you were thinking, which is okay. But yeah, personally, I don't really like that. Yeah, I mean, I think if it was me, maybe... Actually, I think you can just win a pawn now that I'm looking at it. Trade the queens and just take on here, I think makes more sense. I don't think you need to play g4 and open up your king like that. Okay. Yeah, so you do... Oh, you won on time. They just rage quit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that just shows the dangers of not castling, right? You leave your king in the center too long, something like this is going to happen. And white did a good job of taking advantage of that, right, with the rook. So, all right, cool. What's next? Volt 1J, you're up. Volt 1J is white. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, looks like a free pawn to me. Looks good. Developing, great. Okay. So this is a good learning opportunity. So the bishop's obviously under attack, right? You have to do something about that. You can do what you played in the game, b3, right? Defend it. You can go bishop to b3. Or you can do something like queen e2, or maybe queen d3, probably queen e2, let's just say. So you got three options, 1, 2, and 3. Which one is the best? Let's ask chat. Let's ask the chat. Which one is the best? Bishop b3, b3, or queen e2? And what's the idea? Why would we defend this bishop one way or the other? Three moves. Free pawn. Yeah, Peter, you're right. There's a pawn over there. But let's just pretend that that wasn't there, because you're right. There's a free pawn. That's another move. But let's just say we're worried about the bishop. We're trying to defend the bishop. Some people, okay, a lot of people are saying bishop takes f7. Bishop b3, queen e2. Takes f7. Yeah, maybe in this position... Let's actually see. Let's see what Stockfish says. We'll check it with Stockfish. But actually, before I do that, personally, I like the move queen e2. Why do I like queen e2? Because not only am I defending, I'm doing something else that I probably was going to do anyway, right? I'm not going to leave my queen sitting on d1 forever. I'm going to want to get it into the game. Queen e2, I'm creating a nice battery that I can use to go and attack my opponent's king. I'm also giving myself the option, if I'd like to castle queenside, I can, which is nice because it immediately puts my rook on a half-open file. That's pretty good. I'm adding some support to my e-pawn. I'm adding some support to my f2 pawn, which, by the way, is attacked. And I deal with the threat. So I accomplished, like, what did I say? One thing, getting ready to castle, 2, 3, 4. It's like 5 things with one move, as opposed to one thing with one move. You did one thing, you defended your bishop, that's good. But do you want to do one thing or do you want to do 5 things? Also, b3 creates some weaknesses that you're never going to be able to recover from in this game, right? These squares are permanently weak for the rest of the game because your pawn is no longer supporting that knight. So, I know, you're 600, you know, this is a lot to think about, but that's okay. Like, this is the stuff you want to just start thinking about it, and it's going to really help you get past that level. So, b3 is great because first of all, you're noticing the big threat, so that's a good step. But when you want to take it to the next level, you want to start pairing that with, okay, I'd like to defend my bishop, I'd also like to do some other stuff, let's do it at the same time. Okay, d5, bishop d5. Yeah, bishop d5 could be another example of you save the bishop and you also are doing something, if that's what you wanted to do with your bishop. Maybe I'm not sure how beneficial that diagonal is. I like this one because this way I can guarantee that I can come down here and get rid of that bishop, which is defending the king. On d5, maybe knight e7, it's still a good square. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that's a bad move either. So yeah, lots of good options. And let's just check what is Stockfish like. Oh, Stockfish. Sorry, I jumped ahead there. Stockfish likes, yeah, Stockfish just likes going for the pawn. Bishop takes f7. And then it looks like queen e2 is the next best. So, yes, in this case, just taking the pawn was a good choice. But, all right. b3. New subscriber here. Awesome. Welcome, Chess Goals. Yeah, Peter, you're right. Bishop d5 was okay too. Yeah, you guys are right on. And by the way, like, this is something that I think a lot of players don't think about, but when you give yourself the option to castle both directions, number one, it's difficult for your opponent to like know where your king is going to be, which is really nice, right? Because they can't sort of set up an attack, right? If I'm going to just castle right away, my opponent, if they want, can start throwing their pawns at me or maneuvering their pieces and attack me. When I'm kind of like waiting and I'm like, okay, I might go this way, I might go this way, they don't know. But also, as the game goes on, you can use your own judgment and be like, okay, I think it makes the most sense for me to castle this way because I want my rook here and and my king's going to be safe. Or I think it makes the most sense to castle over here because I'm gonna get ready and push these pawns forward. So giving yourself more options is always a good idea. All right, I think we got the idea. So you castled, good. All right, trading off that extra pawn, that's fine. E5. So, Here's why I don't like e5. When I see e5, I get a little bit scared because there's a rook lined up with my queen. So that's why I don't want to play e5. I don't want to let that happen to my queen, right? So I'm going to, again, probably play queen e2 to get that out of the line of the rook. Or maybe, I mean, it almost looks like you could start attacking at this point because you're developed, you're castled. So now you could maybe start thinking about weaknesses in your opponent's position. So maybe knight d5, knight b5 to attack here. Bishop takes f7 almost works, but remember our knight is now undefended, right? Because we moved this pawn up, so we can see why that was important to leave it there, because now we have an undefended piece we have to kind of watch out for. So a lot of moves that you might consider. I just don't like this one just because where my queen is at, right? You got to be careful with that. And yep, see, there you go, right? We lost the queen. And so you want to be thinking about those things even before they become an issue, right? Just be scanning the diagonals, scanning the files, right? I see this. I see my king is lined up on the queen. So I'm going to be thinking through that. It looks fine, but I'm just going to make a mental note like, okay, I got to watch that, right? If I move my rook and something else attacks this, hey, queen can come down. That's how you want to be constantly scanning like that throughout the game. Yeah, it looks like you played this move almost instantly, so I'm not sure if that was like a mouse slip or something. Maybe that's what happened, actually. And if that's what happened, that's too bad. How do we submit games? Yes, you can submit games, chess.com, message me the link to your game, email me. I'm not sure how many we'll do, but I'm doing my best to go as quickly as I can. All right, so we lost the queen, but we're going to play on, which I think is fine. You still have a decent position with your pieces. Okay, a3. Yeah, I mean, this is an example of a discovered attack. So you can move this knight wherever you want, and your bishop's going to be attacking the queen. So you've got a lot of options, and you definitely want to take some time. Let me see how long you spend on this move. You spend a few seconds. Yeah, I would spend some more time here. I'm going to think about knight to d5 because I've got the attack. I've got an attack here. I'm just going to look around, right? And I'm going to see, what moves jump out at me. Knight to b5. I'm attacking here. Because you can, basically, this knight is invincible for one move, right? Because if black tries to take it, they're losing their queen. So that's, something to think about. Okay, but a3, you're attacking the queen, not a bad idea. And again, you have a discovered attack, right? You move this piece, this bishop is basically invincible for a move because if they take it, you're going to get the queen, right? So maybe bishop takes g5. Could be an idea. All right, knight e4 is also pretty good. Nice, bringing the bishop in. Okay, see, now you're doing great. You're bringing your pieces forward. I like that. Okay, you're taking that. That's great. This, I mean, I admire the, yeah, blundered the queen. Wow, what a game. This is wild. So yeah, I think what I'm noticing here is lots of like hanging pieces, and This, I would say, just slow down, especially in these complicated positions, right? Like your opponent missed this one. You did see it, which was good, but there's too many pieces getting blundered, and so that's kind of a big deal. Where was the other one that we saw? Yeah, you saw that. That was good. Let's see, where was I thought there was another blunder somewhere. Yeah, this one. You know, good idea. You just got to watch out for the knights. You're totally winning here as long as you don't lose your rook like that. You're going to be just fine. After this, now, I don't know. It's pretty close at this point. Okay, you got a queen. Great. That's good. You got the queen, and you're going to win. All right, cool. I think we talked enough about that game. But yeah, let's see what else we have. Brown cat, 4 brilliance. Wow, 4 brilliance. We're not going to look at 4 brilliance right now because I want to focus more on like the sort of normal games where people just make mistakes, you know? Let's see. Okay, I think I've already analyzed this person's game. Any patrons or members who want their game analyzed that I didn't get to? I'm going to just give you guys a chance. Before I keep going here. Oh, Peter sent one. PXM23. Okay, let's do Peter's. All right, Peter, here we go. Thanks for letting me know. Peter was black. No, I'm just doing under 1400 right now. Unless you're a member or super chat or something, then maybe I'll make an exception. But otherwise, let's do under 1400. All right, Peter is black. Oh, let's go analysis here and turn off the feedback. Okay. Ooh, F5. What is this called? Yeah, the Janish Gambit. Isn't there another name for this? I can't remember. I thought it had a different name. Anyway, I like it. I like the aggressive openings like this, as you guys know. Okay, I like this move. I think you're taking advantage immediately of the weaknesses that white created, and of course you have a nice follow up, sinking your knight in there if they take you. So I like that. Oh, you took with the pawn. So this is fine. I'm just thinking like, hey, if I can get a knight centralized and defended, I'm gonna do that. I mean, I'd rather have my knight in there than just a pawn. But you know, it's a small thing. This is with tempo on the knight, so that's a plus. Okay. I think you just got to take this. I think, you know, you're castled. White's not castled. And this opens up your rook. You get an immediate threat on f2, which is pretty significant. This is not a bad move, but this is just like a better move. And so I'm just going to take that right away, you know? Knight takes c4. I think looks great. I'm not sure what the idea was here. But yeah, knight takes c4. All right, let's see. Yeah, because now, see, I don't think that would have even been an option before, right? Because your knight's there. And if white tries to take it with the knight, you've got this, like I mentioned. So it really puts white in a bind. Okay, now the knight comes in, which is good. You get the attack over here. Castles. Okay, so queen h4. Yeah, that's good. You're still getting a nice attack. It's not quite as good, but it's something. Okay, good sacrifice. Yeah, that's nice. So white can't take it because of the checkmate, obviously. So white played h3. They realized what was going on. Ooh, wow, what a move. Um, hmm. It looks like a good move. Yeah. I mean, I like it. Okay, so there's checkmate here. You have to be careful. Probably knight f6. Oh, then our knights. Yeah, we might have to just go back. Because you got to deal with that. Oh, you traded. All right, sure, that works too. d5, okay. Wow, sacrificing the rook. Yeah, does Stockfish approve of this? It does. Only good move for black. Wow, okay. Oh yeah, I guess I was thinking that white could defend, but they can't because the queen. This is not an option. Yeah, it's a good point. All right, cool. So g3. You went there. Okay. Wait, what if you just... Is this just mate in two? Checkmate? Yeah, it is. Mate in two. You take this, and then it's over. So, this is like a... something you would find in a tactics puzzle book, right? If you do lots of mate in twos. There's actually some books that are specifically mate in twos, or they have categories like mate in one sections, mate in two, mate in three, mate in four. Can't remember the name of the book. There's like a famous one. I'll have to look it up, but specifically checkmates in 1, 2, 3 are really good to practice, because some of the, like, let's just say chess.com puzzles, they're not always mates. Sometimes it's, you have a random fork and win a piece, or you just defend something, or whatever. It could be anything. It's good to practice the checkmates for these situations, and you'll probably see this, right? So just work on those if you can. Because yeah, this is a nice one, right? White has to take you back, and it doesn't matter. You just have checkmate. Next move. Okay. Yeah, the king's gonna run now. Yeah, I've had games like this too. It's like amazing, and somehow the king just ends up like escaping to the other side of the board, and you're like, how did that happen? I can see that's probably what's happening here. Yep. Yep. And then you have no pieces left, and it's like, how did that happen? Yeah. That's tough. You did a good job attacking. One thing I'll say, if you're gonna play openings like you did and you're gonna attack, tactics, especially the checkmate ones, are gonna help you more than anything, because you're gonna get lots of positions like this. As long as you play like you did, which was great, just work on those tactics. Get one of those books, Mate in Twos, that's full of Mate in Twos, and just work on them. The one that I recommend a lot, this is super old, but it's 1001 Brilliant Ways to Checkmate. This one doesn't tell you how many moves it is like some of the other ones do, but they're all checkmates, and it breaks them into categories. So, like, see if I can show you. So chapter 1 is queen sacrifices, and so you get practice, sacrificing your queen to get checkmate. And then you've got let's see, what's the other sections? I think there's one like checkmate without the queen, so you see mating patterns where there's no queen involved, and that's helpful because you want your mind to be able to recognize other combinations of pieces. Harrying the king, chapter 4. I don't know what that one's all about. Let's see, what's this one? Discovered check and double check is chapter 5, so you get practice with checkmates that come about from a discovered check and a double check. And so something like this, I don't know, maybe you already have that, maybe you're already working on it, but that's what I would recommend. The Chessable Mates course. Okay, that's probably good. I don't have experience with that, but I imagine it's probably the same kind of thing. Okay. Um. All right. Cool. Any other patrons or channel members that I missed? Just want to give you guys a chance. Okay, I guess nobody else is a member, so I'm just gonna grab whoever's next. Let's see. Yeah, and it looks like I have plenty of games, so you probably don't need to send any more, because I'm not gonna finish all of these. Yeah, no problem, Peter. All right, Sebi KB. Let's do this one. Sebi is black. What am I trying to do? Here we go. Ooh, what a weird. Okay. I'm gonna turn on the analysis for this one. I just get a feeling already it's gonna be one of those games. All right, so Bishop D3 usually is unadvisable because you're making this bishop stuck. How are you going to get this bishop out? You can't move your d pawn. You can't move this bishop out. Yes, you can fianchetto it, but that's pretty weird, and usually that's not the best way. It's nice to have the option to play d4. So bishop d3 is a weird move. Queen g5, you definitely are immediately attacking the weakness. So I got to give it to you for that. Now, you have to be careful because, yeah, exactly like this, it becomes a question of, is it worth it? Like, is the pawn worth the trouble that you're going to go through to get it? I personally would say no. I don't like playing positions like this where I have to spend a bunch of time to go get one pawn, and then at the end of it all, my opponent's going to have like 3 pieces that are just attacking me, right? So for example, rook g1, yep. And look at this position. White has this and this and this and this ready to go, and I'm just like, I got my pawn, you know, it's something. I got one pawn, cool. So I don't like to do that, right? And so if it's me going way back here, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that, just because of that reason. I know what's gonna happen. I know how it's gonna end, right? So keep that in mind. Now there are different situations, okay, where maybe I already have like all my pieces out, and I see an opportunity to go for a pawn. Okay, then yeah, I'll go for it. I'm already developed and I feel comfortable with my position. But right now, I mean, this is move 2, right? We're in the development phase. So I don't agree with that decision for that reason. But I understand why it's tempting, right? Pawn, it's a free pawn. So not a free pawn, but it's there. All right. So now we gotta have to defend. If you are gonna do this, it's like, all right, let's go in defensive mode. Yep. Wow. Okay. All right, and now you're doing a good job getting some pieces out. I like that. You didn't even take that, obviously, because of the fork. You just developed a piece. That's good. Developing, great. Got another pawn. Okay. Yeah, that's a weird trade. Only because at the end of it, there's the bishop there, which doesn't look awesome for you. So I think probably just need to move your knight. Just move your knight back. All right, so takes, check, king over. Yeah, I guess you got to do something like that, don't you? Wow, what is going on? Wow, this is a mess. Looks like you're doing okay. Navigating it, yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's a big mistake. You did spend almost 30 seconds. I don't know. I guess just work on your blunder checks, because that's important. You can't be making mistakes like that if you want to get past 1100. You gotta kind of eliminate those from your game. Okay, you got the pin. That's good. Should be pretty straightforward from here, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, big takeaway from that game. Be careful going for those pawns. There's a term in chess called a poisoned pawn, and it's like, yeah, you can take it, but it's poisoned, and is it actually worth it? That's kind of a situation like this. It's not terrible, but I don't like playing this way. I don't want to give my opponent so many free moves like that. So, all right, keep that in mind. All right, Tog. See you later. See you later, SPD. All right, let's see this one. Pickener F would like explanation on why their move was brilliant. All right, let's do that. We can do that for you. So you were black, and you want to know why your move was brilliant. Let's see. Where's the brilliant move? A blunder. Okay. By the way, just keep an eye out when your opponent moves to squares that are undefended. If you can take them, you want to be doing that. But yeah. So you did it a little bit too late, right after they defended it. So you want to try to do it right away. All right. Yeah, you're doing a good job developing your pieces. That's great. Castling, that's great. This is fantastic. This is a good way to start. Okay. And this is a blunder because the bishop is hanging and white's not doing something about it. Same reason your move's a blunder. There's a bishop that you could take and you're not taking it. So that's why those are blunders. Again, same reason. It's because the bishop's hanging. So that's why you see blunder, blunder, blunder. Okay, that's a... Yeah, good move. Chasing the knight away. Good move. Great move. That's a good move, yep. All right, that's a blunder. Same kind of reason. When you have a really nice threat and you don't do it, then it's considered a blunder. So, you're taking a pawn, which seems like a good thing, but you have a queen that you could take. You also have a triple fork, and you can take the queen next move if you wanted. So that's why this is a blunder, okay? And white had checkmate. They have their queen and bishop. They could have just won the game, but they didn't see it. Now you saw the queen. All right, good. Okay, let's go to the... Ooh. Yeah, so there was a... Yeah, queen was hanging there. Let's go to the brilliant move. Where's... Oh, there it is. So, it's a brilliant move because you are giving up your knight and playing a really strong move. So let's turn on the engine. I guess the engine is going to say that this is actually a nice move. Let's see. It's -9, -6. Huh. Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question as why it labeled that a brilliant move. I'm a bit puzzled myself, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a good idea, like push your pawns, defend it, but ideally you would want to save your knight. So I'm not actually sure, to be honest with you. If anyone has any idea, why is chess.com labeling this a brilliant move? Fill me in. Yeah, good question. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, because even if you play f3, they're just gonna take you. So yeah, a chance to promote, but like white just takes it, right? And you don't really have anything. So weird. That's the strangest brilliant move I've seen. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what happened. You got a queen, you got the rook. That's good. Oh, we lost the rook. Okay. And then white flagged. All right. Interesting game. To play knight f5 and support the passed pawns, is that what it is? Yeah, maybe. It seems weird because the best move was not any of those things. The best move was knight b4, knight takes c6, e2 check was actually a good move because it saves your knight. I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand that one. All right, let's do, let's see, what time is it? I'm going to have to wrap up here in a little bit. Let me do maybe two or three more games. So Let's see what we have. Let's see, that's a 3-minute game. I'm gonna try to do a little bit longer games, longer time control games if possible. Uh, 3-minute games. Yeah, I'm looking for a little bit longer time controls. 10-minute game. Alexander. What's your name on chess.com? Maybe I'll do Alexander's next. Carlos. Carlos, I don't have access to your library, so I can't look at yours. Let's see. Who else do we have? Let me check my emails, make sure that I'm not missing any patrons or anything. Here's one from Kurt. Kurt's a patron. Let's check Kurt's. Oh, I guess we already saw this. Did we already see this? Wait. I think I didn't copy it properly. Hold on. I'm having a moment here. Here we go. This is Kurt. I believe Kurt is white. Turbo. So let's check Kurt's. All right. Let me go to analysis. And all right, so Italian game. Good. Developing, castling, awesome stuff. Ricky 1. That's fine. H3, that's okay. Rook B1. I want to see this bishop getting developed. I'm seeing a lot of other moves, and we haven't finished development yet. And maybe that's because you didn't know where to put it. So you can go to E3, and if they take you, you can actually just take with the pawn. And even before you move your rook is probably a better time to do that. So like back here, you can go bishop E3. And the point is, yes, you get some double pawns, but now you have a half-open f-file, okay, which you can use. You can move this knight and do something here. And you get this pawn on E3, which it can be weak at times, but it's also sort of helping you in the center, right? Like the knight can't go there. And now you can play D4 whenever you want. And, you know, if black takes, you're going to just take it back. So this is actually a nice way to go. And of course, if black like tries to attack it right away, you can just defend it with your queen, something like this. And you know, you'll be fine. So this is just, especially if you play this opening, right? The Italian game like this, you're going to see this move a lot. And so just remember, bishop e3 is totally fine to play. And just capture with your pawn, put your queen up, and, you know, try to use this to your advantage, right? You've got some things lined up, and black has to be careful, right? So, okay. Rook b1. Okay, a4. This looks like a move because maybe you didn't know what to do. Yeah, it's not an easy. I think you got to. I still think you got to go here. You got to get that bishop off. You don't want to leave your bishop sit there indefinitely. And it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, we got to get the bishop somewhere, right? So I think this is a strong bishop. It's an annoying bishop. It's attacking a weak square. So I've got a piece on the back rank not doing anything. I'm gonna trade it for my opponent's that's annoying me. That's how I'm looking at it. All right, 94 b4. Okay, so now you get it over to a decent square. Yeah, you're doing pretty good here. Okay, that's fine. So we get a queen and rook ending. Okay. This is good. Piling up on a potentially target pawn. That's good. Okay. Tactics looks like it works out. I guess... Yeah, I guess here you should just take the queen because they take you, and you end up with an extra pawn. You got 3 against 2. Whereas when you take this way, it does leave this open, and black gets their pawn back. So probably a little better to just take that, but... Yeah. And these... Oh, he's about to run out of time. Okay. Well, once you win the pawn, this is great, because now you can use this as your sort of ticket to potentially win the game. So that's really good. And then they blundered the queen. Okay. Yeah. Good game. Biggest takeaway is, like, don't be afraid back here. Don't be afraid to play bishop e3. That's okay. That's okay to do that sometimes. All right. Let's see. Maybe I'll do one more game. One more game. Who's going to be the lucky person? Who is going to be the longest person? Alexander WWAJR. I don't see that, so I don't know. I guess, did you message me? I don't see that one. Let's try this one. Driftly? We'll go Driftly. This will be the last game. How about that? I gotta go. My kids are screaming in the background. Driftly is black. And here we go. Sicilian. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking if there's some sort of tactics you want to be always checking because it's a discovered attack on an undefended piece. It does look like the queen can take and maybe save the position, but got to be thinking through that kind of stuff. Okay. I think you played that opening pretty well. I think that seems pretty good. Rook to the half open file. Very nice. Okay. Yes. Yes. Looks good. Yeah, looks great. Looks really good. Okay, you gotta be careful here now. There's a pin. So you gotta be careful about this. I don't think this is a good move because now white's gonna get some nice counterplay. They didn't do it. Now they did. Now the queen comes in. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So right around here, you know, let's see. Stockfish says -4, -5, -4.5. You're totally winning. You're totally winning. Your bishops are awesome. Sorry, your bishops are awesome. Wow, can't draw diagonals. Your bishops are awesome. You're up some material. Your rooks are doing great. White's pieces are awkward. But you do want to ask yourself the question, how could I lose this game? Like, I'm winning, I'm doing well. How could I possibly lose? Well, as soon as you start seeing like a clump of pieces over by your king, you should start getting this like danger sense. Like something needs to go off in your head like, okay, let's be a little bit careful here. My queen's way over here. My bishops are kind of not around my king. My rooks are kind of not around my king. And now there are 3 pieces. That's a lot. Now, the queen, maybe in one move, is also going to be involved. So I'm like starting to get a little bit concerned. I want to make sure I'm looking for tactics. I'm looking for what happens if any of these pieces move towards my king, right? And so maybe you consider these moves, right? Because there's a rook here. And so I think it's just a simple move like king f8 would be fine. Just getting out of that pin. See that pin on the pawn? That's a big deal. Okay. And so keep that in mind, because that's really what happened. You were totally focused on being aggressive, which is not bad, but you know, eventually you gotta at least look at what's going on with your own king, and that's what happened. White was able to take advantage of that, and yeah, now you're just losing now. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But overall, I mean, the opening was great. Okay. Any last minute questions before I call it a day? We're not doing any more games, so don't ask for that. I did as many as I could today. But any other questions? Short questions? Hmm. How often are the streams? I've been streaming like every day for the past couple days, but I don't have a set time right now. It's just whenever I have some time and I don't have like a video idea that I want to do, I just will pop on and stream. My voice lifts you up. Thanks. Hey Toth, what's up? Good night. Yes, I will analyze games in the future. Next time I'll probably do 14 to 1600. So if you happen to see me, that's what I'll do. And then maybe after that we'll do 16 to 18, and I don't know if I'll do over 1800. Maybe, we'll see. How do you submit games? You just send me a link on chess.com or email me, or if you want to make sure that yours gets analyzed, you can like super chat. London system okay at 1300. Yeah, you can play the London system at any rating. Yeah. Time control requirements. There's not really any requirements, but I do prefer 10 minutes or more. 10 minutes or longer games would be ideal. Do you have a background in data or statistics? Not really a background. I mean, my degree is in software engineering, so I had to do, some stuff in school, but I worked in big data for a little bit, Hadoop kind of stuff. So we did sort of some of that stuff, not a ton. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you next time. Oh, email is chessvibesyt@gmail.com. T-Bone, no, you don't have to pay. But if you do pay, then I'll do yours first, so you can guarantee that you get your game analyzed. But no, most of these people didn't. Actually, I don't think anyone did. There was like maybe one or two patrons and members, but most of them were just random people. So take it easy, JM. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Rock solid jump from 14 to 1500. Nice. Keep it up. Keep it up. Yes, some spreadsheets on my videos. Yes, I did do those a while ago. Yeah. Those videos took a long time to make though, but yeah, they were some good ones, some good research. All right, guys, have a good Sunday. Take it easy.